All right, today we are diving into a really powerful thesis from author Emad Mastaq. It's all about the end of economics as we know it. And look, this is not just another doom and gloom story about AI. This is more like an engineering manual for what comes next, coming from someone who's seen the system from the inside out. Let's break down what he's seeing on the horizon.
So let's start with this statement right here, because it's direct, it's personal. And he's not talking about your job or even your career. He's talking about your entire economic relevance as a human being. The argument is that we're in what's called a phase transition, a moment where the fundamental rules of the game are being completely rewritten. Now, this number, it isn't some apocalyptic countdown to doomsday. According to the author, this is our window. It's the time we have left to make real, meaningful choices before our economic reality just changes permanently. Think of it like water hitting its boiling point. You can heat it up, you can cool it down, but once it turns to steam, yeah, there's no going back.
So what is this big transition all about? Well, here's the core problem, and honestly, it's a brutal paradox. We are on the verge of the single greatest triumph in human history, liberating intelligence itself from the slow, messy constraints of biology. And our entire economic system, it's built to see that achievement as an absolute catastrophe.
This is what the source calls the abundance trap. You see, for centuries, economics has been about one thing: how to manage scarce stuff. But what happens when intelligence, literally the most valuable resource of all, stops being scarce and becomes abundant, when the cost of high-quality thinking drops to near zero? Well, our system, which is totally built on scarcity, it just starts to buckle. It starts to break.
And to really understand why it's breaking, we have to look at how we measure success. And according to this analysis, the tools we use, our civilization's dashboard, they aren't just a little bit broken. They are dangerously, fundamentally insane.
And this is the huge disconnect of our time. You look at the official dashboard. GDP is up, the stock market's hitting new highs, and it tells us, hey, we're thriving. But then you look at the dashboard of actual human reality, and what do you see? Record low life satisfaction, epidemic levels of despair. We are, on paper, richer than any society in history, yet we're poorer in spirit. That disconnect, that is the first siren warning of a collapsing paradigm.
This system isn't just flawed, you guys. It actually perversely rewards destruction. As the source points out, think about it. A devastating hurricane hits, that becomes a multi-billion-dollar windfall for the GDP. A cancer diagnosis, that generates a ton of economic activity. Even a family breaking apart is counted as a net positive. It creates two households, doubles consumption. It's wild.
So you have a measurement system that literally counts human suffering and environmental destruction as positive economic growth? Is it any wonder, then, that when we invent a technology that promises true abundance, our instruments can only scream recession? This fundamental flaw is pushing us, right now, toward a massive choice, with three very, very different futures ahead.
So as the old system starts to fail, the argument is that only three stable outcomes are really possible. Everything else is just, well, it's just the chaotic transition period. These are the only patterns that can actually hold once all the dust settles.
Okay, future number one, digital feudalism. This is the default path. This is what happens if we just do nothing and let things slide. A tiny handful of corporations own and control the core AI models that run pretty much everything. And the rest of us, we live on a universal basic income that's just enough to keep us alive, but never enough for us to actually matter. You're no longer a citizen, you're a consumer. You're a user, not a creator.
Then there's future number two, which is basically the fear response, the great fragmentation. Nations panic. Every country scrambles to build its own AI, locks down its own data, and trusts absolutely no one. It's a new kind of Cold War, but this time, it's not fought with atoms, it's fought with algorithms. And as the source points out, you can see this already starting to happen.
And finally, there's human symbiosis. Now, this is by far the hardest path. Why? Because it requires us to consciously, deliberately change our systems, and frankly, ourselves. This is the future where AI is built to amplify human purpose, not replace it. It's where abundance is a feature, not a bug, and intelligence is a shared commons, not a privately owned commodity. It's also the only path where we really remain, well, recognizably human.
So, that's the choice. And it's not some theoretical debate for a university classroom. The way the source frames it, this is an urgent, incredibly high-stakes decision that is being made right now by the things we do and by the things we fail to do.
So, if our old dashboard is totally insane, how do we even begin to navigate toward that third future, toward human symbiosis? Well, this explainer proposes a new compass, a whole new dashboard for a new kind of economy. It's called Mind.
Mind completely reframes what we think of as wealth. It moves away from just money and toward 4 core capitals. You have material capital, that's our physical world, our stuff. Intelligence, that's our knowledge, our ability to solve problems. Network, that's the trust we have in each other, our social fabric. And finally, diversity, that's our range of options, our resilience, our insurance against a future we can't predict.
But here is the most critical insight. These capitals don't just add up, they multiply. That means a zero in any single category brings the entire system crashing down to zero, no matter how high the other numbers are. Think about it. The Soviet Union had immense material and intelligence capital, right? But with almost zero network capital, no trust, and no diversity, it was just mathematically destined to collapse. This forces us to focus on balance, not just blind growth in one area at the expense of everything else.
The source material doesn't end with a nice, neat conclusion. It ends with a call to action. It argues the old world is already gone and the new one is sitting there, waiting to be built. That 1,000-day countdown, it's real and it's already running. The choice of which future we get is being made with every system we design, every community we build, and every single day we spend inside this critical window. The only question left for us is, what are we going to build?